When I moved into my college dorm freshman year, I was assigned a roommate named Tyler. He was quiet, polite, maybe a little too quiet. The first few nights he barely spoke. He'd just sit at his desk, facing the wall for hours after dark. At first I thought he was just shy, but then the noises started. Late at night I'd hear scratching, soft at first, like fingernails running across the drywall. I'd look over, the Tyler would still be sitting, motionless, facing away. One night I stayed up, pretending to sleep, watching him. Around 3 a.m. he slowly stood up and started tapping on the wall across from him. Tap, tap, tap. In a strange pattern, I finally whispered, "Tyler?" No response. He just kept tapping. Then he whispered back, but not to me, to someone or something in the wall. The next morning I demanded a room change. 2 weeks later, I learnt the horrifying truth from a senior. A student had died in that dorm the year before, trapped inside the walls during unauthorized construction. Sometimes, I still hear tapping when I'm alone in my room at night. After college, I rented a cheap 2-bedroom with a girl named Amanda. She was sweet, but there was something off about her. She kept this huge antique mirror in her room. It was old, cracked in one corner, and she refused to move it. Late at night, I'd hear her talking in there, whispering, having full conversations. Sometimes laughing, sometimes sobbing. One night, I got brave and knocked on her door. She didn't answer, but through the crack, I saw her sitting cross-legged in front of the mirror, talking to her reflection, except her reflection wasn't copying her movements. It was moving on its own. The next day, Amanda was gone. All her stuff vanished, except for the mirror still propped up in the empty room. I sold the apartment and moved out. But a week later, I found a note tucked into my mailbox. You saw it too, it's yours now. The mirror was waiting in my new apartment's living room. I rented a house with 3 other guys after college. It was an old Victorian-style place, creaky floors, drafty windows. There was a 4th bedroom upstairs, always locked. The landlord said it was just storage, but something about it felt wrong. At night, we'd hear thuds coming from behind that door, heavy, dragging sounds. One night, after drinking too much, we decided to pick the lock. Inside, there were scratch marks all over the floor and walls. A filthy mattress, chains bolted into the floorboards. We backed out, horrified. That night, we heard someone breathing heavily behind the door, even though it was locked again. One by one, we moved out. The last guy who stayed, he disappeared. Police found the house abandoned, the locked door wide open. Inside the room, the chains were missing, but the mattress was still there, and it was soaked in fresh blood. During my first job out of state, I found a roommate on Craigslist. His name was Aaron. Normal enough at first, paid rent, cleaned up after himself. But I started noticing weird things. I'd wake up feeling watched. My bedroom door would be cracked open even though I knew I closed it. One night, I set up my old camcorder facing the door, just to prove to myself I wasn't crazy. The next morning, I checked the footage. Around 2:45 a.m., Aaron crept into my room, stood over me for 4 straight hours, swaying slightly, whispering things I couldn't make out. When he finally moved, he leaned down close to my ear and smiled directly into the camera. I moved out that day without even confronting him. Last I heard, he was arrested for stalking another roommate. Sarah was my roommate junior year. One night, I came home late and found her cooking in the kitchen. She didn't say a word, just stared at me with this blank, almost robotic smile. I said, Rough day? She nodded, jerkily. I thought it was weird but didn't push it. Later that night, I heard her crying from her room. Knocking gently, I called out to her. The door swung open, and Sarah was there, huddled on the bed, sobbing. I blinked. "Pardon? You were just in the kitchen?" She looked up at me, tears streaming down her face, and whispered, "It wasn't me." We both heard footsteps in the hallway behind me. When we turned to look, there was no one there. We moved out the next day. Neither of us ever spoke about it again. Sharing a space with someone, it requires trust. But sometimes the real horror, he lives just down the hall. Thanks for joining us tonight. If these disturbing roommate stories kept you looking over your shoulder, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more real horrors from the shadows of everyday life.